He sat by the hospital window, staring at the city lights that blurred through his tired eyes. His name was Arjun Mehra, 45 years old, a successful architect, known for his skyscrapers that touched the clouds. But his heart? It was buried somewhere in the dust of his past. That night, the nurse entered quietly. "Mr. Mehra, your reports are ready. The doctor will be here soon." He nodded, barely listening. He wasn't afraid of illness. He was afraid of silence, the kind that comes when there's no one left to call. On the table beside him lay a stack of unopened letters, yellowed, tied with a fading red thread, letters from his mother. He hadn't read them, not in 20 years. Arjun grew up in a small town, the only son of Mira and Dev Mehra, two schoolteachers who gave up everything to give him dreams. They lived in a house with cracked walls, but their laughter filled it like music. His mother, Mira, would stay up late sewing clothes for neighbors just to pay for his tuition. His father, Dev, would walk miles to the city library every week to borrow books for him. Every morning, Mira would say, "One day, my son will build something beautiful. Not for money, but for people." And every evening, she would leave a note in his tiffin box. Simple words like, "Eat well," or "We're proud of you." When Arjun turned 18, he left for Mumbai to study architecture. He promised to visit every month. He didn't. Success came faster than love ever could. By 28, he had built 3 towers, won 2 awards, and lost touch with everything that mattered. He called home rarely. Whenever his mother tried to talk about life, he rushed her off the phone. "I'm busy, Ma. I'll call tomorrow." Tomorrow never came. His father passed away quietly one winter morning. He didn't even make it to the funeral. He was in Singapore, signing a deal worth millions. Years went by. Arjun got married to Aisha, a journalist with eyes full of light. She was the kind of person who believed in handwritten notes, morning prayers, and simple joys. But Arjun was married to ambition. Aisha once told him, "You're building towers, Arjun, but you're forgetting the ground you came from." He laughed it off. 3 years later, she left. Not because she stopped loving him, but because she couldn't bear to watch him become someone else. She left a note, too. It said, "I hope one day you learn that love isn't built like buildings. It's built like homes, brick by brick, heart by heart." He never replied. Now, sitting in that hospital bed, Arjun realized he couldn't remember the last time someone said his name with warmth. He opened the first of his mother's letters. The paper was fragile, her handwriting delicate, like she'd poured her soul into every curve. It read, "My dear Arjun, I heard you won another award. Your father would have been so proud. We still keep your room clean. I still cook your favorite dal on Sundays, just in case you visit. I hope you're eating well. Remember, money feeds the stomach, not the soul. Love, Ma." He smiled bitterly. His stomach was full for years. His soul, never. He opened another letter. "Arjun, your father hasn't been well. He asks for you every night. I tell him you're busy building dreams. He smiles, says, 'Tell him I'm proud anyway. I hope you can visit soon. The house feels too quiet without you.'" A tear slipped down his cheek. He had never replied to that letter. The next one was dated 2 months before his father's death. "Your father's heart is weak. He sleeps a lot. Sometimes he talks to your childhood photo. He says, 'My boy will come home when he's ready.' Come home, Arjun. Some things can't wait forever." He closed his eyes. That letter was the one he had received and ignored while he was at a business conference. That was the night he lost both his father and his last chance to say goodbye. As the rain tapped gently on the hospital window, he opened the final letter. It was dated 5 years ago, the year his mother passed away. My dear son, if you're reading this, it means I'm not there anymore. I don't blame you for not coming home. I know life keeps you busy. But I want you to remember something. No matter how tall your buildings grow, you still come from the soil that raised you. Don't lose yourself in your own shadow. And if one day you feel alone, go back to the house. It's still waiting. Love always, Ma. He couldn't breathe. The letters blurred into tears. 2 weeks later, Arjun was discharged. Instead of returning to his luxury apartment, he took the first train to his hometown. He hadn't been there in 23 years. The town was smaller now. The colors faded, but the air still smelled like his mother's cooking. He walked through narrow lanes until he reached it, the old Mehra house. The paint had peeled off. The gate was rusted, but the door was unlocked. Inside, everything was as it was left. The faded calendar, the wooden chair, and a small framed photo of him between his parents. Dust covered everything but that photo. Someone had been wiping it clean. Then he noticed an envelope on the table. It had his name, and a note in a different handwriting. Delicate, like Aisha's. It said, "Your mother asked me to keep this safe for you. She visited me years ago, said if you ever come home, I should give it to you." Inside the envelope was a key and a folded letter. "Arjun, I met your mother once. She told me you stopped answering her letters. She didn't blame you. She said she still believed you'd come back one day. I didn't know then that she was sick. She left me this key, said it opens something in your old room. Maybe you'll find what you've been missing. Aisha." His hands trembled as he walked into his childhood room. Everything looked smaller now. The study table, the bed, the old bookshelf. He used the key on the drawer. Inside was a wooden box wrapped in cloth. He opened it, and inside were hundreds of origami cranes, folded from his mother's letters. Each one had a tiny line written on it, "For my son's happiness." And under them, a final note in her handwriting, "When I couldn't send you my love, I folded it instead, so that wherever you are, 1,000 blessings fly with you." He broke down. For the first time in decades, he wept, not as an architect, but as a son who finally found his home too late. That night, he sat outside under the stars, staring at the cranes on the table. He whispered, "I built towers for the world, but you built a home inside me, Ma." The next morning, he made a decision. He donated his fortune to rebuild schools in small towns in memory of Mira and Dev Mehra. He turned the old house into a community library, and above the door, he placed a sign that read, "For those who left home chasing dreams, may you always find your way back." Years passed. The library became a place where children read, mothers smiled, and strangers felt peace. And sometimes, on quiet evenings, visitors swore they could smell the faint aroma of Mira's cooking, or hear a soft voice whisper, "Eat well, Beta." 10 years later, a young journalist arrived to interview Arjun about his foundation. She asked, "Sir, you've built so much for others, but what changed you?" He smiled and said, "A few letters, and a love I forgot to answer." He handed her a paper crane. On its wings, written in fading ink, were his mother's last words, "Money builds walls, love builds homes." That evening, Arjun walked to the library one last time. He placed a new letter on the shelf next to his mother's box of cranes. It read, "Dear Ma, I finally came home. I hope you're proud. Love, Arjun. As he turned to leave, a gust of wind blew through the open window, scattering the cranes into the golden sunset. And in that soft rustle of paper and light, he could almost hear her laughter again. In chasing the world, don't lose the ones who built yours. Dreams mean nothing if they cost the people who dreamed for you